Hello, everyone. Welcome back for another day of Summer of the Secret Squadron. And today, for the first chapter, I have a special guest for you. So hang tight while we switch chairs.
Hello, everyone. This is Sean. It's chapter 17. It was just after 5 o'clock when we made it back to the neighborhood, even more exhausted, drenched with sweat, and covered with dirt from head to toe. Then suddenly it hit me. It was time to be at the hardware store. That was the last place I wanted to be. All I wanted to do was crash in front of the television with a 2-liter bottle of Coke and a large pepperoni pizza. I hated to mention it to the guys, knowing they surely felt the same way as I did, but I couldn't help but hope they would be willing anyway. Hey guys, I said timidly. It just hit me that it's 5 o'clock. And? Logan questioned. I've got to go to the hardware store, I said, as if my last bit of energy was used to speak. Oh, shoot, Summer said, voicing our collective feelings. Y'all don't have to go, I said, giving them an out. Well, good, Logan said with relief. Forget it. We're going to, Summer glared at Logan. I gave Summer a grateful look. Maybe it won't take too long, I said. We piled back onto our bikes that were scalding hot from the afternoon sun and coasted our way down to the store. Then it was 10 after 5 when we slunk through the cold air-conditioned aisles of the plumbing supplies. Dad and Mr. Parks were up at the counter closing the drawers. Well, look who the cat dragged in. Dad had a strict policy about me showing up on time. I'm sorry, Dad. We just got back from the bayou and we had so much going on today that I forgot about work until 5 minutes ago. And you think that's a good enough excuse? Dad asked in an irritated tone with eyebrows raised. That you were playing down in the bayou all day? And because you were so busy playing that you should be excused from showing up to work on time? I didn't mind Dad getting stern with me, but I didn't want Logan and Summer to feel they were in trouble as well. I'll I'll tell you what you're going to do, Dad continued, grabbing a clean towel from underneath the counter. All of the three of you boys are going to take these towels and lay them over the patio chair and sit down. Dad began to smile, along with Mr. Park. You all look exhausted, Mr. Park decided, as he helped cover the chairs to protect it from the filthy bodies. You boys sit down, Dad said, reassuring. What do you think? What do you want to drink? Dad moved over to the Coke machine and opened it up and pulled 5 cold drinks from the cooler. I finally sat down in one of the seats as Dad passed out the sodas. It felt so good. I could have almost fallen asleep right there and then. You boys should see yourself, Dad said, laughing. You all look worse than those escapees they've caught making their way out of the bayou last month. I guess we do look pretty bad, I agreed. Tell you what, you all are going to have to earn your keep around here. How about it? If if I clean up while you all sit here and tell us about your day. Sounded like a good deal to us, as long as we didn't have to move. I wasn't sure I could budge a muscle. We picked up our story from the moment that we had all left the hardware store, from lean-to cave, each of us taking turns to interject some of the important but forgotten facts as needed. It seemed like we told a week's worth of experience even before we had finished. Dad was too glued to our story to get much of the cleaning done. We showed him and Mr. Park the jar with the two cap guns and the pennies. Mr. Park said he remembered having a couple of two cap guns just like those ones we had found. Wasn't sure about telling them the snake incident. Not that Dad would have got too upset. I I just knew that if Mom heard about it, uh, me being nose to nose with a cottonmouth, I wouldn't get anywhere near the bayou the rest of the summer. In the end, Logan blurted out the whole story, of course. Dad agreed it would be best if the snake story was left out when we told it to Mom. We did, however, skip over the part about Tommy Dutton almost drowning me. Uh, Finally, we showed Dad and Mr. Park the jar of the stuff we found at the bridge. We found another decoder badge at the bridge, I said, handing the badge to Dad. This one holds a picture, apparently. It's a picture of Henry, the boy who lived in our house. Dad looked intently at the badge in the photo. I wanted to see Dad's reaction to the picture without tainting him with Sumner and Logan's suggestion that it looked like me. Surprisingly, I restrained myself. Dad passed the badge to Mr. Park. Dad, does the boy in the picture remind you of anyone? I asked nonchalantly. Mr. Parks handed the badge back to Dad. Hmm, you know, I guess he sort of looks like you. Sumner grinned. That's what we said. Told you, Ben, Logan added. I already admitted there's a resemblance, and I reminded Logan. Have you any relatives ever lived in Batesville? I asked, looking at Dad hopefully. Not that I know of, Dad said. Oh, I was disappointed. I wanted to I wanted the resemblance explanation as to why I look like the boy who lived in the very same room more than 50 years ago. Dad seemed sensed my disappointment. Of course, that doesn't mean anything. We never, we have never been the type of family that really kept up with each other. At, at least not on my side of the family. My knowledge of our genealogy is pretty shallow. Maybe tomorrow we'll be able to find the names of whomever lived in the house before us, I said. Mrs. Jackson promised to help us in the morning. Good, Dad said. I'm sure she'll be able to help us find what you're looking for. Why don't you boys run along, go home now? I'm sure your mom's getting supper on the table. I'll finish up here. Just tell your mother I'll be home in a few more minutes. We pried our warm bodies from the patio chairs and made our way outside to our bikes. The gentle upward grade of Main Street felt like Mount Everest as we pedaled back home. The three of us went our separate ways for dinner, agreeing to meet afterwards in order to plan tomorrow's agenda for the Secret Squadron. We still had to figure out a way to get to the top of the roof. I walked through the kitchen door to smell the garlic bread and the homemade spaghetti, one of my favorites. "Oh my goodness," Mom declared. "You sure are a sight to behold. At least you're all in one piece, which is better than I feared. Head to the laundry room and get those dirty clothes off and run up and take a quick shower. I want to hear about your day." "Dad's gonna be a little late. He's still cleaning up," I said as I moved towards the laundry room. I followed the orders and stripped down into my underwear, and then I took off upstairs, but not before Emily Ann and Caleb got a good look at me. "You look gross," Emily Ann said, scrunching her face as much as she could. "And you stink too," Caleb added, holding his nose. "Just for that, you all aren't going to get to see what I found today," I said. "No! We'll take it back." Emily Ann her expression changed. "We want to see what you found," Caleb begged. "We'll see," I said, leaving them worried. I realized I had left the two backpacks in the laundry room and darted back to get them. The two hooligans followed me all the way up the stairs, begging to see what was inside the packs. I left them whining outside the bathroom door as I slammed it shut, locking them out. Finally, I yelled through the door that if they would leave me alone, they would get to see everything as soon as I cleaned up. This appeased them, and they left me to have my shower. I wanted to stay there forever. The hot water felt like a grate to my tired muscles, but I knew Mom was waiting to hear our stories as well. So I made quick time of it and hurried, got dressed, and went back downstairs with my packs. I told Mom and Emily and Caleb all about the day's adventure, naturally leaving out the details about what would cause Mom to worry, or worse, lay down frivolous rules that would hinder the summertime activities. I showed them the things that we found, warning Emily and Caleb that if they touched one thing, they would never get to see them again. And finally, I showed Mom the decoder badge from the picture of the boy. Mom brought the badge closer to her face. "What are you looking at, Mom?" I said curiously, as to whether she noticed the resemblance. "Oh, I was just looking at the boy in the picture," she said. "What about him?" I pressed a little. "Well, at first, I thought it was a picture of you," she said shyly. "I was waiting to see if you would notice," I admitted. "Sumner and Logan says he looks a little like me too." "Is it bothering you that you look a little like the kid in the picture?" Mom asked. "Is it bothering me?" I said, with more little sarcasm in my voice. "The fact that I am a spitting image of the kid who lived there 60 some years ago, a kid who may have died in the very house. Maybe it's just me, but I felt a little like I've crossed over the Twilight Zone." "Well, maybe it's just power suggestion," Mom offered. "That's what I was hoping, but I saw it yourself with your anyone suggesting it to you." "Well, yes, I did," Mom acknowledged, "but don't make a big deal out of it. out of this, Benjamin. This just is a coincidence. I'm sure it is. I mean, what else would it be? I asked. Mom didn't answer, so my mind began to try to answer my ridiculous questions. But after a few stupid reasons in my mind came up I didn't want to hear it anymore, so Dad walked in and relieved me. It was time to eat. Dad said the blessing that night with a special emphasis on appreciation for keeping me, Logan, and Sumner safe. A flash of that steak staring straight into my eyes brought me once again to the point of gratitude. With the amen, I dug in. I felt like I hadn't eaten all day. I ate everything that I could get my hands on. Spaghetti, French bread. Even the salad looked good, and I never eat salad. Mom and Dad wanted to hear more about my day, but I couldn't stop eating long enough to talk. Then finally, I was stuffed. I could barely get up from the table, but I did. Logan and Sumner were expecting me. I thanked Mom for dinner and grabbed the 2 packs and waddled out the back door. Logan and Sumner were waiting for me to bring over everything so their parents could see it all. They too were amazed at things that were found and how old they were. Mr. Johnson was just as bad as Dad, wishing he could have gone with us. And although our dads could probably have helped us get onto Lander's roof, we decided it was a job for the Secret Squadron and not for our dads. So we spent a couple of hours debating this very thing, how to get the how to get onto Lander's roof. Of course, Logan was still touting his grand scheme of using a zip line to rappel from the field's building to the theater, and Sumner and I still thought he was crazy. But the problem was we were not coming up with anything better. The only other way was to march down to the front of the theater, slap up an extension ladder, and climb on top the marquee. Then climb up 2 stories using the big Landers neon sign to get on the roof. All this almost directly in front of the police station. After 2 hours of debating, these were our 2 opinions. Finally, we made a decision. We would decide by lunchtime tomorrow. If a better plan had not come along by high noon, then we would have to choose one of these 2 plans. And it was scary, but we were exhausted. We moved on to our other business. Logan popped in the Midnight CD Mr. Parks had bought us, and we all kicked back to listen. Gong, 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 began the CD. Then came the roar of the diving plane. Captain Midnight brought to you each day by Ovaltine. Those were the last words any of us remember hearing.
I don't know about you guys, but I don't know how in the world they are going to figure out how to get on that roof. Come back tomorrow to find out.